Look where we are. We've made it far. The overgrowth is breaking apart. Step by step, don't rush ahead. Winter's kind. She gives you breath. We will come. For now you're numb. Take my hand. Keep looking up.
Day 2, DRG, Special, Cure, Beyond, Ragnarok, Hurricane, GSL Season 1, Code A. Africa TV, Freak Up Studio, live. LG Ultra Gear and Hot 6, 2021, GSL Season 1.
GSL Code A's back. It's time for our final best of 5 of the night. We had a very one-sided, pretty short best of 5 to start this off. DRG smashing Special. Special had some cool strategies to come into the each of the games, but DRG stopped all of them. And then in a very dramatic and drawn-out TVT with Cure versus Beyond, Beyond looking strong at the start and weak at the finish. Cure advances.
Now we enter into our first PVZ of the season. We're going to have a Ragnarok here as our Zerg player going up against Hurricane. I'm excited to see it. I feel like these two are a reasonable match for each other. I generally tend to think of Ragnarok. Well, Ragnarok has been more successful than has Hurricane. Hurricane is a little bit up and down. It feels like he chokes a little bit. You know, like he had like a very good super tournament. Yeah, other than that, it's like hit or miss how well he does.
Hurricane, an excellent player here. I think he is getting better and better as his Ragnarok. These are guys that we kind of put in a tier 2, I guess you could say, GSL player. Like, if they were to get to like the Final Four, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And it's possible, but it's not. It's kind of like Cure a little bit here. Maybe Cure a little bit more so in the lower part of a tier 2, but not Cure. What am I saying? Creator is what I meant to say from, from the other day.
I was like, well, Cure got the finals last year.
No. Sorry. Other player with a C name. But you know what I'm saying? Like, these guys are good. It makes sense that they're here in Code A. And they could do well this season. We've had some time off from them, so I'm curious to see how they're going to perform today.
Yeah, we might possibly get into GSL Nautilus here as the last map. That would be really cool if we do. Who do you think takes it?
Maybe Ragnarok. We'll see. He's looked very strong.
Okay.
You know, Hurricane. I'm not sure. I'm probably going to go to Game 5 no matter what, but probably Ragnarok. What about you?
2021.
Leaning a little bit Hurricane.
GSL
Okay, really.
Season 1.
We stood at the edge of the world. Seize the stakes.
Alpha X, Ragnarok. Hurricane.
Right. Hurricane kind of looking a little bit extra handsome today, isn't he?
He is. He's looking very handsome.
Looking a little
see
bit
if
more
his
like
play
tasteless
is-
than normal.
No. He would need to be disheveled and have a beard. He'd have to, if he wants to look like this, just look like he has coronavirus even when he doesn't have coronavirus. No, I mean, look, I'm curious to see how Hurricane's going to play this matchup here. We've had some changes in the way that we understand PvZ, which have been interesting. Kind of the Black Sheep unit, the Void Ray, which historically has had a few highs and mostly lows in the history of its existence, has become more of a centerpiece unit, which is abnormal compared to how most PvZs have operated. And because it's got more functionality, actually a lot of functionality, in the early to mid-game, it's changed the way that the matchup is approached in a lot of ways.
Yeah, we definitely have seen a lot of that. I actually want to see some Void Ray builds, to be honest.
It does seem to eliminate a lot of the options for the Zerg in general. What we normally see is because the Void Rays are out, not always attacking creep tumors, but usually just kind of covering the bases and cleaning out overlords. The Zerg can't really do anything sneaky to attack in, and so then we just don't see the Zerg do that at all. So sometimes the early mid-game is a little bit slow.
Yes. Stargate coming up. I imagine he's probably going to open with an Oracle, but we'll see if he goes Void Ray after that.
Yeah.
Think it likely. Ragnarok just taking his third hatchery right now at that natural. Really nothing out of the ordinary so far. It looks like very regular openers.
So there's that Stargate coming along now. We've got some Adepts coming out here as well.
And ready there. Queen is to put a little bit of damage on the Adept. We're shading away.
Okay, so the first Queen driving away the Adept. Adept going to shade in here to see if there's anything actually going on. Does not fully commit to that. And here come those Void Rays now for the Protoss. And like we said before, I mean, the Void Ray is funny because it's had periods where it's extremely strong. I mean, think of, StarCraft 2 is now over 10 years old, right? So there's a lot of history in this game. There's a lot of different versions of this game as well, which I know we've been in Legacy of the Void for so long that I think sometimes we kind of don't bring up Wings or Heart of the Swarm, really.
Yeah.
But there's been periods where this was, I mean, there were certain functions of the game that were the same, but there were a lot of metas that were totally different, or periods where there were units that were much more dominant.
Or Void Ray has been a very dominant unit several times, but also the weakest unit several times.
Yeah, it's basically gone from being too strong to being unusable to being too strong.
Yeah, it really has gone back and forth. I mean, there's been metagames in all three matchups where it's a core unit.
Yeah.
Even PvP.
Or a unit specifically that can be used for an all-in.
Yeah.
It's had periods like now where it seems to be used mostly as a deterrent, like we're seeing here, where like the Lynx can't really do anything because the Void Ray will eventually catch up to them and hit them.
But it seems like he's only going to make this single Void Ray, right?
Yeah.
He's going into a Robo and a Forge with that third base. But even just showing that Void Ray, I think, makes you play in a slightly different way.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I think it keeps the Zerg knowing that the possibility of numerous Void Rays is a possibility. We've also had Void Rays used a lot in the end game. I don't know if this is going to be one of those games. I think a healthy PvZ build or style in a best of 5 especially is to have a good rotation in and out of different openings, in comps like that.
Absolutely.
And so even if we don't have it this game, we might have it later on, but it is a funny thing, particularly because StarCraft 2 is a game which has been patched so many times and improved or tweaked, and there's a lot more open discussion about how to make it better. It's had a history of things really changing in it, and it's kind of funny to see the Void Ray in the place it is now.
The Void Ray just still on defensive detail here. Mortal on the way. Some roaches being made here from Ragnarok. I don't think he's going to be able to really attack or anything, so maybe those are more defensive.
So now we wait. The Immortals are going to be coming out. We've got some more gateways coming down here, and basically this is a game where the Protoss is going to set up the 3 bases. The Warp Prism coming out can telegraph that there's going to be an attack coming here from the Protoss, or at least at minimum a harass. Zerg going into Banelings, getting Ravagers.
Did he finish that Hydralisk Den, or did he cancel it?
I don't
Did you
see
happen
it.
to see?
I did not actually see. Let's see if it gets more than 3 Ravagers. Sometimes you just get the 3 Ravagers simply to snipe the Warp Prism.
Yeah. Well, we don't have that attack coming in as of yet, but I mean, if you're on 3 bases with this type of composition, you're 100% going for an attack as Hurricane.
Right.
But yeah, I feel like he canceled the Hydra Den, so it's kind of interesting.
Well,
a lot of
it's-
Lings, Roaches, Ravagers being
I mean,
made
I
right
think
now.
we have to conclude he did. I mean, you're not going to keep making Ling, Ravager, Roach, but if you have a bad read on and you think there's Hydras coming here, you've got the wrong unit comp against Ling, Ravager. And I mean, let's look at this. I mean, Force Fields come down, Ravagers say, I don't think so, and Lynx can come in and do a lot of damage. And so here we go. The Biles come down and crack open the stasises.
Yeah, look at that. A lot of Biles being sent down and some
feel
decent
like
connections.
This
but
was like
he
a
pushes
great
forward.
angle, and there was nothing here to actually do damage.
Yeah.
It was like it's a 180 degrees of bad attack.
Yeah, his army just really
Okay.
unable to do anything there. Instantly loses the base.
Yeah, I mean, just getting smashed there. I think if Protoss can regroup and is not going to just overextend, I think a follow-up push could work. Okay, getting the Warp Prism
Oh.
just quick enough. Force
very
Field's,
nice get.
Force Field's coming down here.
And the Ravagers continue to fight,
Yeah.
forcing them back there with some Biles.
Good control here. Gut gets up to where... Oh, he keeps that Immortal alive. That's so sick.
Wow, somehow, some way, continues to micro back. The flank of Lings comes up, goes into the bush, and it looks like he will finish picking off most of the units. 3 very hurt Stalkers do get warped home.
It's funny because it started out looking so good, and it fell apart so quickly.
Yeah,
It's very rare that you see the fight go. Protoss wins on every angle of attack, kills the hatch, and then then that's when the Protoss is killed. And it wasn't
Well-
like the Protoss overextended into the natural, and then the rally points from both sides came in and sandwiched him.
He caught the prism is what happened, right? Like, you don't have any micro, you don't have any reinforcements at that point. Like, you don't have jumping the mortals in and out. So the Biles doing their job there. And I guess the problem with Hurricane at this point is that attack was like a vanilla gateway unit / robo attack.
Yeah.
So he didn't have blink, he didn't have charge, he didn't have glaives, right? So now he's sitting back and he's like making blink. Yeah, continuing to attack upgrades, but he lost all of his valuable units there. So he's remaking his army from scratch. And of course, as Protoss said, is a tough thing to do.
Yeah, it's too bad. And now the Zerg is going to come out here. I think this is going to be for sure a forced cancel, if I'm not mistaken here.
Yeah.
Going to also block out any of the other warp-ins here. We've got some Banes stuck behind these force fields here, but this also makes it so that the Protoss can't save the Nexus either. Now, I don't know how long Zerg is going to stay on this, but Zerg may be itching to try to propel this game to its end. I mean, there's no easy way to stop those Banes. The Banes are basically a little bit quicker than all these units that are running from them.
Most of the Banes picked off. A few more do roll forward right there. Some blinks back.
If this damage continues to come out, it's possible the Cybernetic score is killed off, which means no more Stalkers. Immortals going down, leaving the number only down to 1. We see some targeting there. He unpowers that. Now, the Disruptor shot is huge.
Yeah, Disruptor's so strong against Ravagers, hitting a ton of them right there. He will
But
pick off that Disruptor, though.
He kills that, and the Robo's unpowered.
So are several gateways.
Yeah, so it looks like instead of trying to pour more resources into making attacking units, Ragnarok's going to try to drone up, power up, and play a stability game where he can try to come in and punch out the 4th base. Protoss can stay on 3 bases for a little bit longer here. I don't think that they're pressured to take a 4th that much more quickly, but they're going to eventually have to do that. And as long as they're going to take a lead. Now, over here from the Protoss side of things, Hurricane's going to go for a counterattack.
Well, that is like a pure Stalker counterattack. 1 Immortal, 1 Sentry coming in from behind. Massive blinks backwards. So many Roaches and Ravagers running forward. Not looking
Oh my
so
God.
hot here for Hurricane.
Yeah, I was wondering when I saw Hurricane come across the map, it would seem like no matter what, Zerg's going to have enough, but
Anytime you're on pure Stalker, that's probably not a good sign. You're either just about to win or you're just about to lose.
yeah, that's a good way to put it. Okay, so the attack comes in, and it's just 1 Immortal and a couple of Tier 1 units for Protoss. Biles coming down, Lings spilling forward. And I think this should be the beginning of the end here. I don't think there's any way for the Protoss to curb the damage. Ragnarok too big, too strong. And a really well-executed game one here from him. He's going to come in here on top of the Robotech. He killed off the Cybernetics core. That's it. GG. A Zerg victory to start things off.
All right. Ragnarok fighting back after losing that hatchery. Very happy with himself, as you can see. Hurricane. What would you describe that face as? Slightly miffed?
Feels bad, man.
All right.
I mean, that's a frustrating game. Again, that was such a weird attack, right? He came in, he like fought off everything that Zerg had, and from just the screenshots we had, I thought, oh, okay, well, I've seen this story before. We're going to be going into game 2 with a Protoss win, and then out of nowhere, I mean, I know the War Prism was shot down as well, but it just seemed like he was hit from so many sides. And
yeah, I think when you lose your Prism, it just has to be over.
well,
You
it
know,
seems
he
like you
has-
should just bunch up and recall, not try to take a fight.
Yeah, maybe.
Pillars of Gold,
2021
map 2.
GSL
Here we go.
Season 1.
We stood at the edge of the world. Seize the stakes.
Alpha X. Ragnarok. Hurricane.
Well, we'll see what Hurricane has planned this time. He did open with that one Void Ray into a quick third base, into a gateway and robo attack. I feel like that build was part of a bigger plan for the best of 5, where I bet you that he opens with Stargate here. Okay?
Yeah.
And I bet you he goes Void Ray first, and I bet you it's not the same build. I think
Yeah,
you
I
want
mean, I think you do not go the same build.
Yeah, well, certainly that as well. But when I see a build like that to open on game 1, it just makes me think like, okay, this is a best 5. You've had a long time to prepare for this. How do you maximize your chances? You want to have some different builds that you rotate through, and you want to make your opponent a little bit confused. Maybe, you know, he does that again and makes it look similar and goes into actual Void Rays and techs up to Storm and Carriers, or, you know, I'll be surprised though if he doesn't go Stargate here. I think he will. If he just goes like Archon drop, then I don't know. I don't know anymore. He's got a bag of bones that he's throwing for his builds at the beginning of the game. It's like,
When we saw the first Void Ray come out and then he stopped, I thought, okay. And we saw the Stalkers come with the Immortals, and I'm like, all right, well, this is...
Yeah.
We've seen this before, and then it just completely got smashed.
well, a build like that is a good mix-in,
Yeah.
but it's not a good stable base for PvZ.
It's also an older build.
Yeah, for sure.
We've seen that same build just without the Void Ray.
Yes, absolutely. Oh,
So
100%.
it was, yeah, I mean,
Well, I think that's why I'm leaning towards we're gonna see multiple openers where there's a Void Ray first out of the Stargate, because then it all looks the same, and you're denying the Overlord scouting.
Well-
So on Ragnarok's side, suddenly he's like, oh, this could be that crazy build that he just did that actually I could have died to.
Yeah,
He did lose the hatch real quick. Like, that
I
was
think
scary.
if Hurricane won that, Hurricane's in way better shape, because then it's
Right.
like, oh, that's a strong push, and will he do that again, or will he go for the Void Ray play, which is much more passive? But the fact that he shut it down, and I mean, I might be mistaken, but it seems like it's not a terribly difficult scout for the Zerg to get, right? You just
For the
send
Void Ray build?
yeah, you just send another Overseer, you just see if they're making it out of the Stargate.
Yeah,
if you're not,
if
okay,
if
well-
you get the Overlord speed, you definitely can, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess they could get lucky and like just catch you on the edge or something, or, yeah. I guess
I
if you
mean-
bring your Lings up, maybe they show a second Void Ray. You know,
Yeah.
there's a few ways you might be able to get the intel. Couple of depths out here. Ooh, they pick off that tumor. Nice.
There's that first Void Ray we were talking about.
Yeah, wouldn't be surprised if he goes Oracle afterwards as well. That's what he did last game.
Mm-hmm.
But you can always go like, for instance, if you want to do the Void Ray build, you can go Void Ray, Oracle, Void Ray. There's no problem with that. Totally fine. There's the Oracle. Now let's watch the timing of the third base. Is he just going to take the third now like he did previously? He's chasing down the Overlord, which is exactly how this went. See, so far the opener is the same as the first game.
And I want to reiterate something you were saying, Artosis, because it could be the same thing actually, or it could be a branch. But what's important is if it looks the same and there's that many different ways to play it, you can throw the Zerg off guard.
Yeah. And that's like a pretty solid way to plan a series. Let's see. Twilight. Okay, so it's not a Void Ray build, but it looks up to this point exactly the same, and now it's different. Because last time it was a Robo and a Forge. This time it's a Twilight. So, like, I mean, it could be Charge, it could be Blink. There's a big range to what we could be seeing here. Hell,
All right, damn, really good control here. He's he's not having it with these Adepts. That was really impressive. They just never got close to those drones. Kills both those off. Yeah. Shuts that down. Oh, doesn't see the Roach Warren.
Okay.
Huh. Now it's going to be DT drop, it looks like.
Yeah, it might be.
And then, into Archon, of course. That's what happened. He might just go straight into Archons, but Zerg's actually all inning.
Okay, so he's in big trouble. Okay, these queens walking across, there's not going to be any detection. You can just warp in DTs and kill this.
Yeah. This is going to backfire.
The Dark Shrine has to finish, but that's, it is like a building that takes 1,000 years, but does it take as long as queens walking across the map?
Yeah, that's truly like, we're talking about ages of planets and stars in that point in time.
Yeah.
Like, how long does this really take? So, yeah, I mean, the all-in is inbound. And so there's going to be 5 gates total here when the rest of these finish. And that's going to be enough DTs that you can actually just kill everything off. And
you make 5 DC, like the game is over. Zip.
All right. Now, I like the mix-in of this here, but it turns out that these two build orders, one is better than the other. Let's see how much damage he can pull off, though. There is, I mean, the Dark Shrine is just now finishing.
Yeah, what's he going to be able to save? DT's coming in.
If he could get the Nexus, that'd be great. Now, here come the DTs.
Oh, he actually killed the pylon before that second DT warped in, so the Nexus will die.
Yeah.
Very solid. I tell you, the Dark Shrines really do take a long time to finish. That is kind of funny. Because the Dark Shrine, he started that Dark Shrine when Warcraft 2 was released, and it didn't finish until just now.
It's like kind of crazy how long that was. It's like, I wasn't totally sure on the timing of that either, but yeah, killing that pylon. And again, the Lings can kind of ignore the DTs. He can kind of run around and just be like, you're not taking a third yet, right? Good. But, very quickly here, Zerg is going to be getting answers for this. The era of DTs is not going to last as long as it takes to make a Dark Shrine. I'll tell you that much.
The era of DTs is forever, okay? This is a great unit. It's invisible. It kills workers in one hit.
I don't know, man. It's a StarCraft 2 DT. Those things, they get seen and they die. Okay. Now, where are we at here? We've got 55 probes to the 55 drones to the 51 probes. This DT is still on the loose here, so they could start to really hurt the Zerg even more. Now, there's a Spore here to see, but there's nothing attacking. 4 more kills is pretty crazy.
10 kills on this DT. Okay, Blink is coming up as well as +1. Prism is coming out, so we're going to see at least some pressure coming out of Hurricane here. Here comes the flying boys.
Okay, tags this army. Now, I think Protoss is probably fine from another attack. The Archon, the 2 Immortals.
Yeah.
I don't think Zerg wants to try to go in there. I think we're going to see Zerg power up onto 4 bases and tech out of this.
What should he go into from here? Like, do you want to go into Banes?
I think so, yeah.
It's a little bit tough, I guess, because there's going to be Archons due to the DTs. Maybe you stay on, like, Roach Ravager, but then the increasing count of Immortals is problematic?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, it's kind of funny because it wasn't just that he went Roach Ravager, it's that he went Roach Ravager all in.
Yeah, pretty much.
And it did stop the third, and so the game goes on.
Yeah, exactly.
But-
if you hadn't killed that, then real trouble. But
Infestation Pit coming down here now. And so this is where he's going to morph
Oh.
these into... Oh, is he not going to morph these into Archons?
no, man, they deal more damage like this.
Yeah. Some Blady boys.
Oh, he lost him. Okay, Infestation Pit coming down. Are we going to see Swarm Host?
I wonder.
I don't think so. I think he's going to go Hive, but let's see.
I mean, I think a Swarm Host could be a cool idea. I mean, if you can actually... Look, Immortals and Archons Artosis are not exactly fast,
Absolutely.
nimble units. So,
I actually like it against that, but
Yeah.
since he didn't make a Nidus, it doesn't feel like Swarm Host play.
yeah, unless the Nidus is late or something. But you're probably right. But I think the idea is pretty cool, right?
Absolutely. Or maybe just because the attack's coming up, he's being a little bit careful about that. Okay, this attack from Hurricane does look pretty scary. Some good force fields going down. Vials being thrown. Pulls back
Whoa,
what he can.
blink in.
Aggressive blink forward.
Pretty crazy blink in there. And look, the three Archons, or three Immortals, excuse me. Three Archons too, but the three Immortals really are what's doing so much more damage back here, especially with these Archons here to soak. Notice the position of the War Prism is one that can't probably be sniped with any ease here.
Yeah. Can't really run around the side to get that either.
Yeah, unfortunately not. So this is a very good area to try to push into. A blink in.
Oh, that was a very aggressive blink forward. Still has
Yeah.
those Immortals in the back as well. Somehow all three still left alive.
More Roaches coming in here. The Immortals starting to get targeted. 2 go down. Now it's going to be 3. Is there enough left over to clean up the Zerg? He hard targeted down those Immortals. But sometimes if you just get enough Stalkers with Blink, you can make anything happen.
Yeah, there's so few units left here for Zerg. Very low health
Oh.
on a lot of Stalkers as well. But does he actually even have enough larvae to make the units to kill these? The drones come out to fight. That points towards no.
The push continues. It looks like this base is going to fall. I'm not sure that Zerg can recover, especially when there's these small bits of units coming in, like 4 or 5 Roaches.
Yeah, it's kind of tough, but some more Ravagers joining. Goes down those
Ooh,
vials. Oh my
those
God.
were some great biles. I was really surprised when the Protoss sort of...
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He like moved, he just went right
He
into
moved
the bases.
forward, which is okay, but then he actually took some hits. And
I like
now,
how I couldn't quite explain that. I was like, you know what I'm saying? When he just sort of, how do I say this? Move forward?
it's a difficult concept.
They
moving
should have
forward.
sent a poet to cast this game.
He gets the Prism tasteless.
Yeah, he gets the Prism, and he keeps the Hatch, taking the Immortals and the Archons out. The sophistication from the Protoss is gone. The Stalkers are not in reach, fire-wise, of the hatchery, and this is looking more and more like a miraculous hold.
Yeah, this is not optimal for Hurricane. He does not have a lot going on at home. We don't really see upgrades. He just started charging an Immortal, and his army is basically some Stalkers. He does have 3 bases, and he's forced a lot of units out, so it's not the biggest economy for Ragnarok. He does have another Dark Templar over here. Got some very high quality kills. Look at that, 7 drones. Not bad.
And, I mean, from here, it just seems like Protoss has to rebuild from the ground up. I mean, the War Prism, the Immortals, the Archons. The Stalkers are not that unsafe being out on the map because they have Blink and the creep is not impressive at all.
Yeah, since it's like a slightly smaller game, like if it's lower econ, the Stalkers are much more valuable.
Right.
But as soon as you get really big armies, Stalkers become pretty trashy.
I wish we could almost go back into that fight. Something weird happened where it seems like he suddenly ate too many vials or he pushed too far forward with the Immortals, and although the War Prism was safe, the Immortals couldn't be picked back up. And after the Immortals are picked off, then the Zerg just came in here with a jaw-breaking move, killing the War Prism and then just controlling the fight. And I mean, this hatchery is going to heal before these Stalkers are ever going to get to touch it.
Yeah, for sure. I think he's just keeping them active, whittling down anything
Yeah,
he can.
try to get
You've
some
got
value out of him.
Yeah, it's not like it's super hard for him to macro at home or anything, right? He's adding his buildings, he's making some units out of his gates, but you may as well micro your Stalkers because long term they aren't going to give you that much value. Right now they're going to give you the most that they're basically going to have for the rest of the game. So Viper Lurker on the way now for Ragnarok. That's really scary. We don't really have good anti-tech to that. No good counter-tech from Hurricane. The counter to all tech, though, is a DT getting in and killing a bunch of drones.
Yeah, that's one great way to recover. So Zerg sees the 4th base. We knew that this was going to happen eventually here. And it looks like this is a small counterattack that's going to be set up. If Protoss pushes, Zerg can try to dive on that base. But we might not see Protoss push for a little bit here. I mean, Zerg is looking pretty strong. Really, the goal here is to build up not the same army as before, but a bigger, better one than we could have had in that first push.
I haven't been nervous for Hurricane. Like, the unit set he's been making all game long and kind of relying upon is not very good against lurkers overall.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, if you get enough Immortals, you could throw down some Storms, you can break a lurker line. It's not, like, impossible.
No, I mean, it's
But
doable, but it's...
Stalkers, Zealots, like,
Oh, dude. Okay. I was going to say, if he just loses that. Stalker's going to come in here. Kind of the similar ideas to like what we saw there with the Roaches and the Lings that wanted to pounce on the other base. By the way, there's a push on the other side of the map with this.
Ooh, I really like this play.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
Stalker's on one side, the rest of the units coming elsewhere. Oh, a warp into the main. Charge Lots coming out against those Ravagers. They'll do all right, but
Yeah.
a little bit of a choke point, unfortunately.
Yeah, a bit of a bottleneck there. Can't get quite through. We didn't catch it on camera, but the hatchery that's for the 5th base over at 9 o'clock was crushed
Yeah.
or canceled. Whatever. It's not there. It's going to have to be remade.
canceled. Roaches on the map going to get caught. I tell you, Hurricane right now, I really like how he's playing. He's been so active with those Stalkers. And now having the Prism flying around, even though the Prism didn't do that much, he found some damage with that roaming force, his main army. Stalker's picking off some on the side. He's got that +3 attack. Beautiful. Zerger catching up. Lots of Psystorm in there. So many Immortals. He has the force fields. Yeah, let's see it. Don't really want to attack into Immortals in a situation, or Lurkers in a situation like that.
This is an extremely important moment here because the Zerg... Okay, I was about to say, if he loses any of these key units like he is right now, it's going to be really painful. I mean, counterplay is still available here for the Zerg there. I mean, especially the Immortals, harpooning them like that.
Yeah.
Big moment. But now the Protoss is going to go into carrier, so
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to have any commitments here. This is more roaming and trying to kill creep or
Yeah.
win a fight just like that.
Totally. If you can just make the Zerg grow slower while you switch into carriers, that's going to be probably good enough. You know, in the very late game, you're not likely to really have Immortals be part of your composition. Maybe there's some rare situations where you will have them back in, but yeah, like he can spend these units right now, do what he can, keep Zerg very busy, keep Zerg as small as possible, while getting those extra bases up and getting your carriers out.
Okay, doing a great job coming in here again. Protoss wants to drag this game out as much as possible. This is really going to be trying to stretch the game out to its ultimate limitations here. That's what makes carriers so strong, is you start to get these kind of the types of trades that are just better for Protoss. And also, one thing about StarCraft 2 in general is the fights happen so quick, you are limited on the number of things you can do inside of those fights, right? And carriers make that even more complicated.
It's a nice flank and go on good force fields as he tries to back up with his remaining Immortals.
Whoa, Lurker's up here now.
Ooh.
Immortal's going to get a really good flank over here. I'm kind of confused what those Immortals were even doing there. Lurkers, rather.
Well, I think he didn't. I didn't realize that there were 3 more Immortals to the right there. Definitely, if he saw those, he was not going to go in there. But that was a crushing victory. You can see Ragnarok throw his head back, losing so much value from his army there.
Well, that was probably the biggest moment of the game there for him.
That was,
where things were like, I mean, it was still a manageable game. He has just bled off a lot of his investments.
Yeah. Not looking as hot for Ragnarok anymore. Now there's carriers out. Templars being added back in. And now you have a lot of decisions to make here as Ragnarok. How do you go about this game? Obviously, Lurkers and Vipers are going to be a big part of it. Are you going to try to go into Corruptor to deal with this? Are you going to just try to harpoon the carriers? Look at Ragnarok laughing and moving around his chair.
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, no, he's like literally like, oh.
Well, it all led up to this moment, right?
I've seen this gamer face before, Tasteless.
Yeah,
It's I can't believe that this is how this game is
Yeah,
going, Gamer
it's
Face.
so bad that all I can do is laugh because I'm fully aware of how bad my situation is.
The thing is, he was actually in a decent situation a few times in this game, but
Yeah,
it's definitely
yeah.
been a very back and forth one as well.
But let's see. I mean, he could get the Protoss out of position. This is a real like Buster army. You know, you can come in here and basically these stalkers, they can't even stay and fight. They actually have to run.
yeah.
This is a tsunami of lurkers and lings just coming up here.
Counterattack here from Hurricane, though. He's going to lose that one base, but he 100% will kill this one. Honestly, his army kills bases so quick. He can just move down and keep killing them.
Yeah, so we're getting into a base trade-ish scenario. But
Yeah.
I do think that this army from Protoss is actually better than this army from Zerg as long
It
as you have
is.
enough space to take fights.
I mean, Vipers can change a lot of things, but, you know, the Protoss army is going to kill infinitely here. Right?
Yeah.
This can actually kill everything he has. Maybe that's true on both sides, but there's this little spell
He's
called
gonna-
Recall.
Yeah, get ready.
So Ragnarok is like not mining, and now the whole army is coming home. There it is.
Yeah.
So
And-
Ragnarok, it's like, well, do you make another hatchery? You don't even look at his money. It's got 183 minerals.
And that being said, Protoss isn't loaded either. I
Oh,
mean, his money's going up slowly, but what you see right now is really what you get.
It's still.
So like,
How many Vipers do we have? I feel like that's the.
there's more
prime
lurkers
question.
being made here too. I mean, good harpoons into lurkers
Yeah.
melts this. Okay, not a bad fight here from Zerg so
No.
far. You got to keep your stuff together here as Protoss.
I see 2 Vipers. 3 Vipers.
3 Vipers.
Okay.
I spy with my caster eye.
Well, he doesn't have another base. Ragnarok is taking another and has slightly more mining going on.
Well,
It is almost
let's see.
depleted
He's got the
bases.
drones. He's going to throw everything at once at him. Good harpooning onto the carriers. Going to get some kills.
Oh my
Somehow
God, those
they
side
all
storms.
get away. They all get away.
Those side storms did all right there, I would say.
Yeah. I'd say that'll do, Pig. He's going to keep coming forward here. Now,
Yeah,
how low are the interceptors here? Because they're not looking to be numerous. And he's going to grab another one. Get it.
Okay.
Get the Archon kill.
Is there no storms left? Oh, he needs to just go.
Oh, there's also no drones left.
but the Immortals come out to fight.
Ooh, he's got to get back.
You're
Okay.
right. The interceptors are not looking so numerous.
Those are just hammered, guys. You don't even know. It's like,
Oh, sure.
gamers are so good at this game. Now he's gonna get the hive. Okay, hold on.
Okay, that's a lot of side storm he's done.
Yeah, yeah. There's now more immortals and hydras. GG.
If there was no more side storm, maybe.
All right, winner. But I think Ragnarok. He takes that one on the chin. You know?
You can see the look on his face. I think, he did get himself into some decent spots considering.
Well, also let's not forget that was a, pretty big all-in he did that was shut down with the DTs. And then he really misplayed a big attack. I think he threw away something like 11 lurkers.
Oh, yeah. No, he threw away a lot when those
Yeah.
Immortals came in for playing. Honestly, I didn't think he had 3-4 Immortals on that
It seemed
side.
like it was confusing for us, for him, and for everybody that's watching, because suddenly there's lurkers over here, and I'm like, oh, and then Immortals flank them.
Yeah, the only one that wasn't confused was Hurricane. It's like, yeah, man, I chrono boosted him. No problem. I have a lot.
Romanticide is going to be our map for Game 3 with these two. Right now, it's 1-1. Again, the winner of this best of 5 moves on to the round of 16 to the
2021
GSL Codes.
GSL Season 1.
We stood at the edge of the world. Seize the stakes.
Alpha X, Ragnarok. Hurricane.
Hey, Tasteless, do you want to know what's going to happen this game?
What's going to happen, Artosis?
Same Void Ray opening, but he's actually going to Void Rays this time. 100%. The layout of Romanticide, you can't really get these attacks off that he's been doing, right?
Yeah, this map's funny because you can cover a lot more
you're
with a lot less.
Yeah, your natural and third are kind of together, and there's like that ramp right there, or you can go way around the side. And yeah, I really think that he has like a full best of 5 plan here, and this is going to be the good map to go Void Ray on, like Void Ray into Storm into Carrier.
But, I mean, you seem pretty confident, and I think you're probably right. I mean, does the Zerg play around that? A lot of times there's maps where you look at it from the other race's perspective, like your opponent's situation, you go, I'm not going to play that game. I mean, this is why sometimes, you know, you get a map where you're like, oh, I hate this map. I don't know how to win on this, or I can't because something happens, or they get like an extra base over here and I can't stop it. Then you just say, okay, we don't have to play by those rules.
Do a cheese or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. I mean, if Ragnarok really wants to do like a crazy all-in, you can always do like the drone laying thing, right?
Yeah, sure.
That's always a fun one. Or if Protoss doesn't see it, they just die.
Yeah. They're like, what? Oh, no.
Like, oh yeah, the drones are blocking me from rewalling. Okay, you're better than me. GG.
This is the thing, man. StarCraft 2, fastest RTS. Sometimes too fast to stop certain things, though, if you're not completely preempted it.
Yeah, you gotta be ready. Gotta be ready. There's that Stargate. I appreciate that Ragnarok came in with such a plan like this, right? Make all the openings look similar.
Yeah. It's a good idea. Reminds me of our cast of Squirtle, where he was in the group, this is like 10 years ago, in a group with 3 Terrans.
Yeah.
And had a different starting point for each build.
Yeah, it was
or
exactly
the same starting point
opener.
is what I mean, and then a different branch.
Yeah, he had 3 Terrans in his group. And so he ended up playing so many PVTs, but he used like 5 different builds through the day or something, 4 or 5 different builds that all looked the same.
Yeah, it was crazy.
So it was like very hard for his opponents to have any
It's
idea
like
what he's
the
doing.
more you see about what he's doing is you're actually almost getting less information at that point in time. You're just seeing the range of his play. So we've
That
got
was a very memorable group, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So we've got the Void Ray coming. Does he go Oracle after that? Does he?
Well, he's going to take his 3rd now.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, he's going to go Oracle, yes. But this is where it's going to change, Tasteless. It's not going to be Twilight. It's not going to be RoboForge. It's going to be Second Stargate.
I like Fortune Teller Artosis more than Analyst Artosis. I like when you looked at the stars and you kind of just see, because this guy's an Aquarius, that he is going to do it. Let's see if you're right, though.
I'm right.
So that Nexus coming along here. We still want to keep our eye on the Zerg here, too. This isn't all about how the Protoss dictates the matchup. The Zerg does have flexibility. I mean, it's what we saw in Game 2. It backfired, but not surprised to see Ragnarok try that in one of these games here. You know, a best of 5 really is a test of your range of play, your prep. Very different from a group stage, which is like, of course you can always prep, but really you have to have a very good, well-rounded approach, no matter how you do it, you know.
Absolutely.
Now, I'm not saying that correctly. You need to be able to play all the matchups, all the matches. You need to have long days here. If you happen to have one of, all Zergs in your group, then you really, really, really need to know how to play against Zerg. And here you are, Artosis. You were right.
Of course.
You were right. Bow down, chat, to your new god.
You god. Well, I mean, it's a good plan, but look, is he gonna go 3 Stargate Phoenix?
Oh, what?
It's possible. Like maybe
Roddy,
he just
is
makes
that you?
Phoenix.
Roddy, are you there?
No, he has
Roddy's
Warpgate,
like,
so
this
it's
is
not.
This is Roddy's final form.
Let's see if he makes more Phoenixes or he goes Void. I mean, it's 3 Stargate, so like it could technically be either, but it feels more Phoenixy because most people go 2 Stargate Void Ray right now. Okay, so it's actually going to be Phoenixes. So that's kind of interesting. The one thing that I find funny about this is it happens to be a +1 melee from Ragnarok, which this was the counter to the 2 Stargate Phoenix build that Zest made years ago that got really popular, where it's just like if you go +1 melee, you can just go in and like kill the 3rd base because Phoenixes can't really pick up links.
Yeah.
And obviously the Lings are dealing damage ridiculously fast at that point. But yeah, this is going to definitely catch Ragnarok off guard.
Another Ling comes in to take a peek.
Really interesting that he went for Phoenixes instead. Huh.
Yeah, I was ready for the Void Rays here. And maybe it's game 4. We have the Void Rays finally.
Well, yeah, I mean,
It ends the way we wanted it to start.
I have no idea what it would do after this game. Like, you could actually go away from Stargate builds here, and I think it would be good.
Yeah.
I think you could do something completely different, like something very aggressive.
There's an attack over here with the Void Ray, just kind of drawing some fire. But here come the Phoenixes, so now it's no longer a secret.
Yeah.
He's out, he's on the map.
10 Phoenixes, man. I mean, I think from here, I guess you could go carrier still, but you could switch into gateway units too. I think both are fine. Now, here comes this attack into the third, and I think he'll get it, right?
He's just not looking. Oh, he is at the last second. Nice save here. Probe's actually not getting picked off. Amazing play there from Protoss.
Yeah,
that could
force
not
shield's
have been
pretty darn
closer,
good.
man. Whoa.
Now with the overcharge, like, just heal everything up, no problem. Throws down the cannons.
Easy
Good stuff,
peasy.
good stuff.
And that's a lot of Banes that were hemorrhaged for basically nothing. The Phoenix count is so high, we're getting Robos thrown down here now as the tech is going to come up here. And you can actually wipe out Overlords with impunity here.
Oh yeah, look at that supply. Big supply block right now.
Yeah.
Going after the drones, you're going to kill so
What's
many.
funny is you're killing more stuff here than they can actually, than they can kill your Phoenixes. You know what I'm saying? Like, the damage that you're just doing.
Yeah, it's a lot. Oh my god, he's going Glaives.
What?
That's not what I expected.
You know-
I would think it would be like charge, but all right, I'm down.
I'm like, so that's why there's that probe mining on the outside of the geyser. He's like, well, I don't need the gas that badly, so that's what I do.
Well, I mean,
This-
Phoenix Adept. It's a tried and true comp.
Well, not just that, but the supply, the Overlord count was so tanked back there. And Zerg spent, you know, Zerg's like was overspent to try to catch back up, and then it's all about getting the drones back now, which Zerg has done. So there's been a lot of Overlords and drones made. Let's see if this Adept attack works.
Yeah, he's going. I mean, he's making Immortals. He's making Storm as well. So maybe a more solid comp than that. It is surprising though. It's a very cool game out of Hurricane here. Yeah, those things will force that cancel very quickly. Almost at +2.
Okay, so this is all leading to this build-up here for Protoss. Although Hurricane, I mean, he did a lot of damage here to Ragnarok, but Ragnarok is still, you know, he looks pretty okay, man. He's bounced back pretty well.
Yeah, now
I don't know if he's going to be ready for this kind of weird unit comp. I mean, it's already
It is
been
a
an
weird-
abnormal game, you know.
Well, he's making speed banes, which can fix a lot of things. He also has two Overlords full of +2 banelings, so it looks like
Right.
he's going to go and try to nuke the economy here of Hurricane.
Yeah, and again, if it's just Adepts or Speedlots coming out here, and Phoenixes are not particularly good against Banes. I mean, they can pick them up and shoot them, but
Technically.
yeah, technically, but application can oftentimes be quite different. So, yeah, I mean, I think with Baneling, it's a straightforward response. Let's see how it actually does. It looks like he's going to go ahead and dive in here to the 4th base. Storm's coming down.
Uh-oh. That's a lot of baneling stasis.
Yes, it is.
Ridiculously good storms and force fields. What in the...
What in the
Are
world,
those
man?
banelings really... None of those connected?
I think almost
None of
none,
them.
maybe 1 or 2. Now these ones are apparently not going to come out fast
Oh, that's
enough.
funny. That
He
would-
gets 12, but he could have gotten all of them. Still though, damage continues on here. 20 kills total, but Protoss punching back now, picking up these Hydras, allowing these Archons and everything else to do so much more damage on the ground. But
I can't believe that he flanked with banelings from 3 sides and
Yeah.
didn't... Like, that army if any of the Banelings made it to it, the army was gone.
Force Field's perfect, and Storm's also perfect.
Yeah, made him run through double Storm and just
Now
beautifully
He's
done.
going to target down the hatchery and then kind of try to switch into a fight. Zerg actually gets the save. The question now is, did Protoss actually overextend?
Maybe. Lost a chunk of his economy during those Baneling drops as well. Has to be frustrating when you have Mass Phoenix. Another Drop Lord being made. Wants to continue that.
Okay, more Banes coming. Zerg looking for another fight, and I think the idea is pretty good. I mean, all he really has to do is pummel that base that we had the fight at earlier. Take the Protoss out there. I mean, that was like one of the most perfect holds I've ever seen. The Forest Fields and the Storms.
Yeah, it was awesome. But looking at how this game is going, like, it's just Hydra Bane. And this is a comp that was super popular many, many years ago. And when you play against this, like, notice how he's a fleet beacon. You're not supposed to quite go into that yet. You need to just defend. Oh, he's done. That's
Oh
it.
no,
GG.
the Templars!
That was
Oh
a good
my
storm.
God. Bane's coming forward. They're going to connect on those Stalkers.
He just lost so many High Templars. He is just going to get rolled through now.
Yeah, that's it. Ragnarok is going to take game 4. And one of the weirder techs we've had here from Protoss.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really unusual to see a game quite like this one.
The Mass Phoenixes did do well. The continuation from there was kind of peculiar. Like, did we even really see Adepts? He got Glaives, didn't really...
Yeah, he got, like, you're right, he got Glaives, and I'm not sure where the Adepts actually went. Unless that was some kind of mistake that he got
Yeah,
that,
could've
which
been.
that can happen when you're playing really fast, is we end up reading into that too much because that's a key bit of information when in reality it might have just been a bad hotkey that he hit.
Yeah.
So
Nope.
Ragnarok
You're
looking good. I think he's probably going to take this series. I think Hurricane, he doesn't have the cleanest play, you know?
He's playing kind of off meta as well, and just the macro of Ragnarok is ending up killing him. Even when he's getting his edges, Ragnarok is staying with pretty basic game plans and just having enough.
Yeah.
And like obviously those High Templars way up there. I was just about to talk about how when you play against Hydra Bane, the key is to keep Templars alive and just build your tech, right? Like, keep adding Archons, keep adding Immortals, or, well, not necessarily Immortals, but like Archons, High Templars. You need to just storm them to death and punish them for being on that comp. But when you catch 6 High Templars, it's a free game.
All right, guys, we're going to the next game right now. Ragnarok
2021
ahead with a
GSL
2-1
Season
lead.
1.
Thanks, Scooby-Doo.
Right round.
Alpha X, Ragnarok. Hurricane.
Okay. Game 4. What an odd tech that was back there. Void Ray into, I don't know the exact number of Phoenixes, but it looked like almost a dozen. And then
Oh, he got like 14, I think. Actually.
it was such a high number that you don't care if there's a queen and a spore there at all.
Yeah.
Like, you could ignore that and kill off way more drones and overlords. What's funny is it looks like it basically worked in the attack, but it seemed like it was a very quiet follow-up. Like, he didn't really have anything. We saw the Glaives coming, we thought, oh, okay. And it seems like it sidetracked us into this idea of maybe the Glaives come out with the Adepts fast enough, they can't catch up, but like, no. He didn't even make Adepts. Then it was kind of a meager Protoss army that perfectly held off all these Banelings, which allowed him to kind of last in the game, but a hold like that is pretty rare.
Yeah.
And then he just lost. So, I mean, it's one of those things where it's kind of weird to look at, right? Because I wonder, like, is it actually that good to get that many Phoenixes? It seems like you killed off a lot and not much in the game actually changed. In fact, Zerg seemed to bounce back from that no problem,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, well, I think he could have had a cleaner follow-up. Like, the counter to Mass Phoenixes is similar to the counter to Mass Void Rays. And whatever Zerg chooses to do to counter something like that, High Templars are a good bet to counter, right?
Yeah.
Like, they will... What is it? Is it Corruptors? Okay, you got it. Is it Queens? Okay, you got it. Is it Infestors? Okay, you got it. Is it, you know, Hydras? Bam, done. It's about making the High Templars and retaining them.
Yeah.
Because the Phoenixes just will not continue to scale into the game. Like, when Zerg gets critical mass of what they want to counter that, it's like Lings counter them, Banes counter them, Hydras counter them. And, you know, if you don't... It's basically what we saw, right? Like, he surrounded the High Templars and the game just had to end because you need that splash damage to counter just the masses of units that Phoenixes cannot deal with.
There's our old friend, the first Void Ray.
Yep. There he is.
Now what?
Link getting in, seeing that Void being made.
And we're ready for Artosis' prediction of finally this will be the Mass Void Ray game.
I mean, I would like to see it. I predicted him to win because I thought he would be using more of Void Ray into Storm into carrier play.
Yeah.
Because I think that that's pretty darn strong. But we've just seen, like, we've seen 3 very different builds with the exact same openings, and I am always a fan of stuff like that. But, like, he's almost too off meta. He's too fancy. Like, is he too fancy because he's confident, or is he too fancy because he's scared?
Yeah, he does seem to be like... how do I say this? Yeah, I mean, a lot of the more ordinary ideas that we've been following, that we've actually seen success with Protoss, it seems like he's playing around that too much.
Yeah.
But
He's
it's
trying
also
to
showing...
catch him.
Yeah, but it also kind of shows why we don't see that as the normal meta, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, okay, this could be good, but it's actually not as good as if you just did what the best players are doing right now.
Yeah, and the thing is, there's some intelligence in dodging that because your opponent's prep will be mostly for that. So
Right.
try to make something that catches what they are doing to catch you. Like, there's some intelligence there,
The
for
thing
sure.
is, though, is Ragnarok's, I don't think he's that kind of Zerg, you know? I think he's sort of, he can roll with the punches, and that's the problem. Is
Yeah.
Now, we've got Glaives coming this time here now.
Yeah. Like, this Glaives is on purpose.
Yeah.
So we're gonna see. Like, he has his 3rd Nexus, probing up, making some depths. Not that many as of yet.
And now that he's killed off this Overlord, let's see how much of a secret he can keep this, really, you know? I mean, Adepts is another, again, older idea that we've had used, and there was periods when it would absolutely slam Zergs.
Yeah.
But then there's also times when it's like kind of,
Well, he's gonna go now.
Yep.
It's one of these, like, medium amounts of Adepts plays.
the Goldilocks Adept push.
We're gonna see about that.
Yeah, this
aren't
might
we?
be like, this one's too cold, and he just kills it. We're like, oh no. Okay, here he goes.
That's pretty annoying. Isn't it?
Canceled, and I'll tell you something. You don't want to just commit and shade in because you'll die, but all Zerg has to do, and this is why this dwindled in popularity as time passed, is like, all you got to do is stop those shades a couple times, and you're a guy with a bunch of Adepts outside of a Zerg's base that's done no damage.
Yeah. Generally, when you do open with Adepts like this, you're gonna have to bring this build into a timing attack.
Yep.
Because the Adepts, again, just simply will not scale into the later
They
game.
are strong early, and yeah, as you said, they don't scale. They're the opposite of the Immortal that we're seeing slowly get incorporated in here, where it's like, oh, there's a lot you can do with this later on.
Yeah. And even in certain comps, that will end up not scaling as well, but, like, the Adepts, eventually, when armies get big enough, some of these units just fall off dramatically. Like, maxed out army, you have a bunch of roaches still? Sorry, not so good. Maxed out army, you have a bunch of adepts? Well, what are they going to do? Not a whole lot. So the prism is being made, definitely an attack going to be coming out. Now, I think he'll keep the adepts with the main army, maybe a couple off to the side to try to harass during it, like shade some into the third or something. But it's good to have them there, right? They're going to help picking off lings and tanking damage a lot.
Okay. Good catch on those Ravagers. I mean, you got to take anything you can get, right? But the Zerg seems to be extremely confident. These Lings just going to go for a surround. This is going to be some insane damage onto that Immortal.
Absolutely huge punish right there. He does shade some adepts through, but that punish from Ragnarok.
Yeah, a
was
push from
disgusting.
Hurricane, and Ragnarok saying, why would you ever try that against me? Watch this.
He just got the Lings on top of everything, surrounded a bunch of units, threw the Biles down.
He just makes it look like a mismatch. He looks at that and says, no, you made the wrong army. This is the wrong army. Watch this. Lings and Ravagers are actually better than this.
Wrong army in the wrong place at the wrong time.
The wrong game in the wrong tournament in the wrong season. Well, I mean, from here, it seems like the Zerg can expand on without being prevented. He can continue to, the Zerg can continue to lash out at Protoss. If Protoss tries to grow, I think Protoss has to just go back and rebuild. Is this game already lost? I worry. 5 bases to 3. Protoss taking a 4th now. Enough gas to make Banelings at a number that I think basically just resets the Protoss again and again and again.
Probably. Storm is just now being started.
Yeah.
Hurricane has that single Void Ray. See what he can do against this. Obviously, that gets canceled. Oh, man.
Oh, God. The Immortals.
Oh, boy.
He's going to bring the Banelings back now.
Yeah.
So the Immortals are most likely going to be killed here as well. There's just too much. And Hurricane, who really tried to innovate, brought in new builds and brought back some of the old ones. Okay, a bit of a misplay there, actually.
Yeah, maybe a bit of an overextension.
Yeah. A little too eager to try to end this game too quickly here. But again, it's no 4th base yet for the Protoss. Lings and Roaches are coming.
Some good Biles.
Ooh,
covering his
actually gets
retreat.
that Void Ray.
And now an overextension by the Stalkers.
Yeah, and again, the Immortals, I mean, they can't get anywhere safe. If Stalkers alone can't hold their ground, and that's why these Zealots are so important, is to try to kind of get in the way. You need some sort of a shield. You need something to buffer from an attack like that.
Well, still macroing up on those same units. Tons of Ravagers being made. Banelings being added in. Yeah, the army here is pretty scary from Ragnarok.
Yeah, and I think Ragnarok maybe overstepped a couple times, but honestly, I think the writing's on the wall. I mean, I think this is
Hurricane's going to have a
close.
chance. I think he needs to, like, bust the base over at 9, but also hold his 4th, and I don't know how he gets that done.
Yeah, I mean, this is what happens when the Zerg gets this much of a lead. Meager Zealot counterattacks here.
Good Storm.
Yeah.
Ooh, this is a nice move.
Yeah, not bad.
That's a nice move right there.
But it might be too late, you know? I think Ragnarok just has to be smart and patient here. I mean, this can be cleaned up back at home. It's annoying, but
It's doing pretty darn well right now.
Yeah,
I don't think
going for the hive.
Oh, he's actually warping in a little bit more.
Oh, good. I didn't even notice that. Yeah, nice catch.
I don't think he's going to quite get the layer.
I think he gets it.
Is he? Yeah, maybe you're right.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Just barely gets the
Not
kill.
bad, not bad.
But again,
Pop that out of there for now.
so this puts Zerg in a little bit of limbo here for a little bit. We don't know if there's going to be other tech structures killed, but
He needs to do a little bit more than that, though.
the problem is just that Zerg has so much. And, you know, there is the inevitability of the attack over there at the 4th.
You know what? If Hurricane continues to just slow him down slightly with this prism, continually adds Archon, Immortal, Templar, and secures his fourth, I see a way to victory through that. Hive Tech is like way off because his layer is not even finished again, right? And this army that Ragnarok has, like the higher we get in supplies, it's not going to work as well. If he builds that Immortal count, has enough Archons, like I know that he's a little bit broke right now, so maybe skip out a little bit on Zealot production, just make sure that you have like some batteries and things like that to actually hold your ground, because he can't lose the fourth again. The fourth must be held.
Yeah, there's another drop coming in here. But again, what's actually back at home?
Okay, not too bad. Warps in a bunch of Stalkers right there.
Yeah, some storms coming down, looking pretty good. Oh my god, these Banelings coming in here.
No, a force field to the left would have been amazing, but he actually can still kill this army, but he's going to lose the Nexus.
Yeah, they all connected on. Oh, he's actually not getting the Nexus.
God.
They all connected on the Immortals. The Banelings did.
Not a bad thing to have tank.
Immortals are basically the most ideal thing as a Protoss player. The most ideal thing you'd want to have a Baneling head. If that makes sense. They don't die to Banelings basically. So that was about as misguided of an attack as you can basically have, honestly, considering what Zerg had.
Well, he did exactly what he needed. He warped in Stalkers there, which are very microable in this kind of scrappy game. He had the cannons, he had the shield batteries.
He also warped the Stalkers in a wall.
Yes.
Which made the Banelings, you know, what he wanted to get a better connection than a wall of Stalkers, so he went for the group of them, but then they couldn't get there and they connected with the Immortals instead. And no Immortal was killed in that. No Immortal was harmed during this production here. I know you saw Banelings connect on them, but they're all fine.
Yeah. Seems like they made it through all right. Wow. Decent defense right there as well. Okay, so he's actually... Hurricane is teching up into Carrier, I guess? I don't think it's the time for Carrier, though.
Protoss is back in this, man.
Yeah, he's
absolutely back in this. You make a bad attack like that.
But what I want to see out of him is just like Immortal Archon Templar, right? And some cannons and batteries. Because there's not like a lot of flexibility with what we see Ragnarok making here. It's not like it's not easy for Ragnarok here to get into a long game. Like, notice how he's just making Lings and Banes? That's because he wants to continue to attack. He wants to try to finish him.
Yeah, I think the next attack will probably be less likely to work, though, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And this is going to be frustrating for Ragnarok. This isn't the first time he's been in an okay spot and thrown, basically. This happened in Game 2.
He committed very heavily to this strategy, and Hurricane realized that he actually had such a superior unit comp.
Yeah.
Big warping round right there. Clear some of this. A couple more Archons being added in. I love it. I think Hurricane's playing a beautiful game right now.
So now the 5th base comes here. Well, he might get a cancel, but you know what I'm saying. He's going to be able to expand over here. Good interruption, but that shouldn't slow the Protoss down that much. But right now, it's the same kind of army here for Ragnarok, and Hurricane is getting more and more sophisticated. Now, really, when we watch this fight, the way to view it is to see where do the Banelings connect.
That's the only power he has here is Banelings.
Yeah.
Everything else is running a diversion for the Banelings. Okay, yeah,
Oh
trying to go
my
through
God.
there. Those storms, oh my.
He could still force field there too, but he didn't. So this should have been the way the attack started to begin with. Now,
The Banelings all coming in from that side. Double size storm as needed.
God.
And GG.
Okay,
Hurricane
game
gonna
5.
take it. Wow. Okay. Oh my God, that means we get Nautilus. In Code A.
Nautilus.
Crazy.
Wow. Okay, so that was obviously a big moment there for Hurricane. He won, but Ragnarok kind of defeated himself.
He did have a messy overextension. There's no question. Yeah, you can see how frustrated he is with himself because he definitely was in control. And it was kind of like what we saw from Bjorn, where he's like, just die already. And then Hurricane just barely fought back and got some good harass with a Prism. And before you knew it, he had enough technicality in his army that you can't break it with these low quality units anymore.
Garbo units, man.
Yeah.
It's late game. Get carriers. You're fighting aliens.
Well, he's Zerg, but yeah. Get Zerg carriers.
That was a this has been a bumpy series so far. Like, you could see that Ragnarok's, he knows how to win, or at least how to get to a position where he can win. He doesn't know how to close it. So we look at that game, and that attack in, man, it's funny because in the third game, we were seeing these holds here from Hurricane that looked like pretty insane. But yeah, both these guys kind of struggling. It's been a back and forth here. We had an Adept play too in Game 4, which is kind of funny.
Yeah, the Adepts didn't end up doing that much, to be honest. And
No,
then
I mean,
his
they were-
follow-up attack really didn't either. That's what got Ragnarok ahead.
They were pretty forgettable. I mean, it was
I actually had forgotten.
yeah. Like, it's weird because like we're seeing these tech choices from Hurricane that are either really old or really really weird, like the 14 Phoenixes.
Yeah.
And by the way, he eventually got into the tech that we've been talking about Protoss is doing against Zergs, like they normally do. You know, getting enough of the Archons and Templars and Immortals, and then having carriers on top of that, where it's like it's just really hard to actually kill that.
Yeah. Well, he's opening very weird and trying to throw Zerg for a loop and then
Yeah.
getting into something more normal. All right, he's doing some Morse code into his body there.
That's right.
No, SOS can't help you.
It's good to be back, guys. We missed you. The downtime for StarCraft 2 is too long.
It was pretty long for us, wasn't it?
It was
Yeah.
for us.
Yeah. Happy to be back, though. Code A. Welcome back, Code A. It's
And
kind
now
of fun because this is like the warm-up into the real tournament.
this is, you guys are watching us warm up. We're like trying to tech to Adepts as casters, and it's not working. It's like, it's okay. It's okay. Codes is around the corner. So this is our first time on Nautilus ever. And our game's loaded up. So let's see who's going to move on to Codes.
2021 GSL Season 1.
Ragnarok or Hurricane?
At the edge of the world, seize the stakes. We're living a life until my gentle
Alpha
He's
X.
12
Ragnarok.
Of course.
New map. 12 pool.
Wow. Look at the nice marbled floors.
I know. it's kinda
Hurricane.
You can actually roller skate on the spawn spot. It's nice.
cool. Oh.
I'd say
Careful, wear your
skateboard,
helmet.
but there's no ramps.
You need ramps to skateboard.
Well, I mean, I certainly, when I could skate, couldn't skate on a place with ramps, but that's where the cool kids do it.
Yeah, that's true. All right, Nautilus. We haven't seen the map yet. For this 12 pool, he's like cross spawn, so I don't
Yeah.
think it's actually going to be all that great.
That's
Uh,
as far as they could be.
Oh yeah, the part of the thing that they said in the intro of the map is with those accelerator zones in the center, it makes cross spawns much more like they're close spawns.
Oh yeah, of course.
So even though it's cross spawn, it's not going to be as bad as, you know, it could be, I guess,
Yeah.
on a normal map. And yeah, now, of course, it's a 4-player map, which we almost never have in StarCraft 2. It's very rare. But he's going to hold this easily. This is
Yeah.
not going to be an issue.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the things about this map was there were so many old ideas and new ideas brought together, and pros tend to avoid the super new maps. But this is just all plugged up.
Yeah. Pretty standard hold right here, right?
Yeah.
Go.
This
Just
is
a couple zealots into an adept and you're good.
This is one of these things where there's actually a very specific sequence. Like, you might experience this on ladder and lose to it, but if you follow the steps, as long as Hurricane doesn't really screw this up, there is like a couple ideas on what you need to do, and then you just hold it.
Yeah, you wall and you just get some zealots out and go into adepts.
Yeah.
And then it's like the 12 pooler is not going to get speed So sometimes you can actually put counter pressure on too, especially if they throw the Lings away.
Yeah, I mean, basically Zerg sacrificed so much to get this out early. Once the Adept comes out, it's like a supplement for a cannon, basically.
Yeah.
And then they just can't attack the entrance. And then, here we go.
And yeah, and honestly, if you get 1 or 2 Adepts out, like, they only really have Queens that can deal damage to the Adepts. You can just kind of out-micro slow Lings with them.
Yeah.
So there's real potential to get some drone kills here,
and
too.
then you also, well, let's just watch. I'll unpack it as we get here.
Oh, no.
I was
Okay.
going to say.
I think you want to wait for the sync one anyways.
Yeah.
One
But
shot
I think
versus
that way
2
you can
shot.
at least monitor
Yeah.
their Lings. And so the Nexus comes out here, and one of the reasons why we don't see this all the time, besides the fact that there is actually a process in holding this early on, is that you're behind in a lot of different ways and as the Zerg here. And Protoss really hasn't actually given up that much. They had to change the order of their build, but they're still basically staying ahead of you because the races develop in different ways.
It's kind of interesting. Dark was saying, and it was hard to tell if he was telling the truth or not, because the Zerg players in Korea are all trolls. But he was saying that he thought that 12 Pool was like a macro build and a really good build against Protoss. Still don't know if he
I don't
was
think
serious
so.
about that. But yeah, the thing is, you do force the Nexus to be a little bit slower, right? You force them to make some early units. You can
But-
drone behind, but
Right. The counterplay, by the way, is almost here. The Warp Prism's going to spawn.
oh yeah.
And this is the thing is, Protoss gets enough out, and you can see it right now, guys, Ling speed just started. So, I mean, you're seeing an attack come out here that is going to... the Zerg's not going to have what they normally do have to hold stuff off. It's kind of crazy, especially if you mostly watch. You don't have a whole lot of experience like playing, or even if it's not your matchup. It can be hard to appreciate actually what you do and don't have
Yeah.
in certain moments here, but late Ling speed like this, not a lot of Queens, like a Roach Warren just starting, as a Warp Prism's going across the map. These are all kind of signs of an imbalance here in tech, and it's all because the Zerg took a risk, the Protoss stopped it while staying safe.
Now, this Overlord being sacrificed in is actually a really good thing for Ragnarok.
Yeah.
He will lose it, but he's going to see the Dark Shrine, which is
Yeah, that's the big
so important.
That's the big find here.
Yeah.
Not the Robo, not the Gates.
Because he could just die to that if he doesn't know.
So they're coming in now.
Yeah, 2 Zealots, 2 Adepts in this Prism.
And the thing is, again, these are slow Lings. It looks like Ling speed is just now going to finish, but you can keep warping in. You've got enough range that the Adepts can abuse here. You've got enough HP here that the Zealots can soak damage. The Warp Prism can take some hits, but still avoid the fight. I mean, you're really seeing kind of the dilemma here overall right now for the Zerg.
He's in some trouble for sure. Look at
Yeah.
that, 5 drones already falling.
Now, the army's a bit disjointed here, but drones are starting to fall and DTs are out, and I don't see, well, I see a detection. I don't see much to stop these drones from being picked off. And again, the Warp Prism now gets out. We're at 10 drones killed already. Good save there in the end. The DT can run, by the way. It doesn't have to stay where the Spore is.
Yeah, look at that. He's trying to save it. I don't know if he's going to be able to. Gets picked off. Low ground Spore helping out. Okay, so at the end of that, killing 10 workers.
Yeah.
Ragnarok fell to 34. He's you know, obviously he's re-droning here to try to fix that up. But I think that was great from Hurricane. And now he's got some pretty healthy tech. Blink is almost done. He's got a Forge. He's going third base. DT tech is already out, making it immortal. That looks pretty darn solid.
Yeah. So basically, he comes in there, he gets to abuse the Zerg, and now we're having the Protoss, yeah, with that third base. Zerg doesn't really have any way to retaliate, as you guys can see here, and it's not just the fact that the Protoss is chased away eventually, and that the Zerg has time to try to recover. It's that the tech is getting further and further ahead here for the Protoss. We've got 4 more gates coming down. We've got Immortals, and of course the Warp Prism we already saw. Upgrades are coming here. And then you look at the Zerg side of the map, and yeah, some Roaches are coming out. We've got an Evo Chamber about to finish, but every metric here is showing the Protoss getting further and further ahead.
Yeah, I'm trying to think for Ragnarok how you want to approach this. Don't forget the map is pretty darn long. So it's like it's a far walk across. I think what you want to do here is really focus maybe on sniping the prism.
Well, I think that's one of the only things you can do is try to go for the Achilles heel of the push.
Yeah.
So
because if he can't do that, he'll die, right? Like you really need to get it. Oh, kind of nice from those legs.
Yeah, not bad. This Warp Prism is in the orange, by the way. But let's see how this push goes. I think you're right, Artosis. Yeah, probably go for the Warp Prism, try to get something here.
I don't know how you're going to get that. Maybe walk around.
Well, he's got a DT even to spot on that sense. The DT can actually be thrown somewhere else in here. Oh, man, the Stalker's getting a great surround, killing off all these queens, wiping out the rest of these transfusions. A beautiful blink back here and a pick up on the Immortal.
Looking very good for Hurricane as he does micro back, shuffling those Immortals.
Yeah, and this is just too much right now for Hurricane. I mean, it all is kind of an example of the butterfly effect in a game of StarCraft where one build, you know, sets off a chain of events. And in this case, it was a rush that didn't work and a Protoss push that is way stronger than it ever normally would be. And we're now seeing this game win, and kind of like in game one, this look of push failed. This time around, it's going to be so much stronger because the Zerg was a little bit greedy, tried to end it.
Yeah.
Protoss defended, and now Hurricane is going to be moving on to the round of 16 in the GSL Codes.
Right, ends up taking it down. It was a rough series though. It was very, very tough. Ragnarok very close to taking that one home as well, and we finally get to see Nautilus, which is nice. A lot of different builds.
Yeah,
And
I don't
Hurricane goes through.
have very much of an opinion on Nautilus there.
Seems cool.
Yeah.
I like seeing 4-player maps.
I'm
in
sorry, is
StarCraft
there
2.
Nautilus a name of a character or something?
Nautilus is a type of sea creature.
It's this type of sea
like
creature?
That shell that it has a spiral, but it has like a squiddy looking thing coming out.
Yeah, your spirit animal, yeah.
My spirit animal, the Nautilus. And it's like also the name of like a ship in a Jules Verne book, I think, if I recall correctly. Like
Okay, yeah, I was thinking
40,000 Leagues Under the Sea or something like that.
Something pirate-like.
I think.
Okay, yeah. All right.
Not
now we
exactly
know.
sure.
Such an educational cast by us here. We're going to go to an interview now, guys. And by the way, we have one more day of Code A still to go before we hop into Code S. But Giri will be interviewing our victor, Hurricane, who played a pretty close series.
In the last set of the best of 5, Hurricane grabs the win in GSL Nautilus, and he moves on to the round of 16 Code S. Congratulations. Thank you.
Wow,
sincere congratulations, Hurricane. After 2019, this is your round of 16 advancement in 2 years. So what does this mean to you? Well, for the past 2 years, I've been playing terribly, and I often gave up in my gaming. And I didn't have much expectation coming today. Well, really, congratulations, Hurricane. It feels like you really sharpened your strategy before you came here. You used the Adapt so well, you used the Dark Templars, and you used various strategies to beat Ragnarok today. Well, for practice, I didn't practice much. Rather than actually like practicing, I actually thought about the game, I thought about the strategies, and I think that was more instrumental to my win today, and I think that was why I was able to play comfortably today. Well, GSL Nautilus was first played today. This is a 4-player map. And the opponent went for 12 pool. And you went for the stable build, Hurricane, and you were able to fend off the Zergling so well. So did you expect Ragnarok to play this way? Well, in the early game, since it's a 4-player map, I actually played against Dark in the past and I lost to it 12 pool. So then, right now, today, I had a feeling that Ragnarok was going to pull off that same strategy. So I was really lucky today, to be honest. Well, I mean, Hurricane, strictly speaking, you did make some triple mistakes. But on the other hand, I was really surprised.
와 탐사정을 수호하기 위해서 그 역장
In romanticide, to protect the observer, you use the force field so well.
그런 플레이들이 나오기도 했는데 약간 자부심 있으실 것
So
같거든요.
do you have pride in your force field skills?
요즘 못 치는 게이머가 없을 정도로 뭐 토스라는 기본적으로 역장.
I mean, like if you're a pro player, force field
토스는
skill is like a
역장이다.
mandatory skill
네.
that you have to acquire. So I don't really have pride in terms of that skill. Well, you showed great micro today, Hurricane, and I'm sure the fans are rejoiced as well.
또 16강이니까
Well, Hurricane, as I said before, this is your round of 16 in 2 years. So I'm sure you're really looking forward to the group nomination that's coming up next Monday.
예전과 마찬가지로 최대한 쉬운 조를 가고.
Well, like before, I just want to go into a
시즌도
group that is easy
가능할까요?
for me. Do you think that's possible,
아무래도-
Hurricane?
제일 잘하는 선수가 저를 조에 넣고 저를 쉬운 조로 만들고.
Well, you know, the best scenario would be the best player picking me
자,
and
그래도
then making
오랜만에
that group into an
올라오신
easy one.
만큼 정말 후회 없는 경기를 계속
Well, Hurricane, it's really good to see you in the round of
남기훈
16.
선수의 마지막 한마디까지
So before you go,
들어보겠습니다.
anything you want to say?
사실 오늘 되게 실수도 많고.
Well, to be honest, I
여러 가지
did make some
운도 많이
mistakes today, and I was
따라다니는데
really lucky today.
올라갔으니까 또 연습량.
But now that I've moved to the round of 16, I'm going to practice really hard
실수 같은 거 다 보완하고
and try to
거기에
reduce
있어서
my
좋은
mistakes and
모습
try to
보여드리도록
deliver a better performance in the future.
네, 알겠습니다. 다시 한번
Once again, congratulations,
축하드립니다.
Hurricane.
감사합니다.
Thank you.
네, 나와주시고요.
All right, guys.
네,
What
자,
a great
이렇게
day today
남기훈
here.
선수까지
I'm
오늘
enjoying
코너스에
having
진출한
Kode back. I'm
선수들
liking these
만나봤는데요.
early
오늘 경기 결과
best of
확인해
fives
보겠습니다.
before we go into the group phases. It's a good way to mix it up.
Indeed.
So here's our results. We had an extremely one-sided 3-0 where DRG crushed Special. DRG, you know, it's sometimes he just looks like he is the best player we have. Seriously, like in ZVT, it's insane.
Yeah, his ZVT sometimes looks magnificent.
Yeah, and then Cure versus Beyond, a back and forth, a dramatic series where Beyond was suffering through some wrist pain, but Cure played extremely well, and he did come out on top. And Ragnarok against Hurricane, an extremely bumpy best of 5. Ups and downs, plot twists all over the place. Strategies backfiring, attacks occasionally backfiring as well. But ultimately, it ended with that, like we saw, the 12 pull there with the hold into the counter push.
Yeah, Hurricane really executed that very well, so congrats to him. We do have one more day of the Code A, and that is going to have Stats versus Bunny, and then just the most ridiculous match in Code A, Parting versus Dark.
Yeah, just a casual Parting versus Dark best of 5 in Code A.
That's
you know,
like a round
no
of
big
4
deal.
match is what that is. That's a round of 4 Code S match that we're having in Code A. So one of those guys is not advancing, which is, it's sad because they're 2 of our biggest personalities and 2 of our best players.
Yeah, I know.
So that's
It's
just like completely
the
unlucky.
nature of a tournament like this,
yeah,
man.
yeah, it happens.
And after that, we're going to be going into the round of 16 for GSL. And again, it's always going to be Monday, Thursday, 6:30 p.m. KST. The Saturday broadcast and the Wednesday broadcasts are gone forever, unless something crazy happens. But for now, this is the indefinite schedule of the GSL Code A and the GSL Code S.
Every week?
Well, unless the tournament's not on, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just wanted.
I'm like, even when the tournament's over, somehow GSL goes on. It's crazy.
You still watch on those days if you want.
That's right. Watch the VODs that time.
Yeah.
Yeah, guys, let people know. You know, we always have this downtime here, so let your friends know we're on, we're back, and we're excited. That's all the time we have, guys. We love you, and we will see you in a couple days with the final day of Code A. Bye-bye.